If the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange Land, left you a little disappointed for whatever the reason, it was too short or whatever, then the second chapter, The Tribes of Tatooine, will excite you a little more. Hi, I'm Gerald, and I'm a Star Wars fanatic. If you're new to my channel or just haven't done so yet, go on and hit the subscribe button now to join the fastest growing Star Wars YouTube channel around. Now, before I continue, I will let you know there will be spoilers for the second episode of the Book of Boba Fett, The Tribes of Tatooine. So if you haven't watched it yet, please go do so now and come back when you're finished. You have been warned. With that out of the way, this review will be a little different from ones I've done in the past. At the end, I'll reveal one prediction I had that actually happened. Also, I could tell you the events of the show, but you've likely seen it and don't really need a play-by-play. Instead, I'll pick out a couple key elements and discuss those. But first, if you were disappointed in the length of the first episode, as I was, then this one should please you. I have been saying the first episode seemed more like a prologue than a full chapter since it aired last week, and this episode proves it. While Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Robert Rodriguez have kept the same tone as the first episode, but now it's expanded on. Boba Fett's beginning his career as a crime boss. However, as I stated in the last chapter, he still seems awkward in the role. It doesn't suit him. Usurpation of something as big as a Hutt's criminal empire is no small feat, as the mayor stated. When we left Boba Fett at the end of Chapter 1, Fennec Shand had captured one of the ninja guys, who we now know as a member of the Order of the Night Wind, a type of thug for hire. So, no, he isn't part of Crimson Dawn nor the Red Key Mining Company. Instead, the guy says he was hired by the mayor. The mayor says no, he wasn't. The only disappointing takeaway from this is there's no Rancor. That makes me sad. But there is plenty more in this episode to be excited about. Upon leaving Garsa Fwip's establishment for a second time, Boba Fett and Fennec are met in the streets by two big fat Hutts being carried on a litter. The poor guys carrying them. A moment of silence for respect. Yeah, no, those guys chose their jobs. They know what they're doing. Anyways, the Hutts threaten Boba that this isn't his territory, that it still belongs to the Hutts. If there was a redeeming moment for the lack of a Rancor, yeah, I'm upset about the absence of a Rancor. Then that redeeming moment is seeing Black Krrsantan in live action. If you don't know who he is, Black Krrsantan is a male Wookiee bounty hunter who worked for Jabba the Hutt, along with Boba Fett. He also worked for the likes of Dr. Aphra and Darth Vader, but Boba calls him a gladiator as a show of disrespect. Krrsantan actually was a gladiator for the Trandoshans before he became a bounty hunter. Now it seems he will be opposing Boba Fett. I can't wait to see that fight. If ever there's an evil Wookiee, Black Krrsantan is that evil Wookiee. We then see Boba again in his Bactapod, and we all know what this means. More flashbacks. I'll get to the significance of the flashbacks in a bit, and trust me, there is a huge significance to them. Anyways, we see young Boba back on Kamino, watching from a window as his father leaves on the Slave One. He holds his hand up to the window in a show of already missing him. Then it moves forward again to Boba's time with the Tusken tribe. This time, it's different. He isn't the prisoner, but rather he's training with the number one warrior of the clan. His time with the Tuskens takes up more than half the episode. If you don't like these flashbacks, then you're not going to like this chapter. But there are some great moments in this flashback sequence. Not only do they teach Boba the ways of the Tuskens, but he helps them as well. When a train of pikes transporting spice tears through the Tuskens' land, the pikes do not hesitate to shoot at the tribe, killing several of them. This sheds a light on the Tuskens that we never would have seen in A New Hope nor Attack of the Clones. As I stated, since they were shown in The Mandalorian, the Tuskens are misunderstood. But you can watch my other videos on them. I'll link it in the description below. So Boba sets off with the blessing of the Tusken chieftain to begin a plan to stop the train from coming through their territory. Boba Fett's first stop, Anchorhead, Tosche Station. I hear you can pick up some power converters there for a reasonable price. I don't know anything for power converters, but I do know there are a couple other cameos there. Cammy and Fixer. Don't know who they are? Well, that's because they weren't shown on screen. They were friends of Luke Skywalker when he lived on Tatooine. You see, when Luke was whining about going to pick up power converters at Tashi Station, he was really going to waste time with his friends. And Cammy and Fixer were two of those friends. They were in the deleted scenes of A New Hope. Not these exact actors, but you get the point. Where was I? Oh yeah. Cammy and Fixer are being roughed up by a gang of Nikto, and Boba steps in to slap the crap out of them. After he beats down the Nikto, he leaves and takes their speeder swoop bikes with him, driving one and towing the rest behind. Boba Fett returns to the Tusken tribe and teaches them to ride the bikes. One thing leads to another, and the Pike train returns. Did I mention how cool I thought it was to see the Pikes in live action again? Well, it is. There, I said it. But when the train returns, Boba and his new tribe commence to open a can of whoop-ass on the Pikes. A few Tuskens are lost along the way, but the mission was a success overall, and the result is that the Pikes must pay a toll to traverse the sands from here out. I said I wasn't going to do a play-by-play of the episode. Yet, here we are. But in order to get to the greater theme of the episode, it's important for me to go through this. When the Book of Boba Fett was announced, it seemed we were going to be focusing on Boba Fett's future as a crime lord. But it's easy for us to forget that we don't really know a lot about Boba Fett. Sure, we know he's the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. We also know he's the clone son of Jango Fett. But we don't know what makes him tick. Not anymore. Not since the Legends material was deemed non-canon. To say money was his motivating factor was just wrong. Sure, that's how he survived, but it wasn't his motivation. To figure out his motivation, we have to know more about him as a character. And one thing we have learned is that his father means even more to him than we even thought. In both flashback sequences of the 2 episodes, Boba Fett has regarded his father in a loving way, a respectful way. But we are also seeing that Boba is respectful of life in general. He doesn't want to create more collateral damage than necessary. If he did, he would have attacked the Hutts in the street of Mos Espa. He also wouldn't have returned to the Tuskens after the incident with the Nikto at Tashi Station. But he did. So as surprised as I am at all the flashback sequences, I'm happily surprised with them. You see, when we heard they may be flashbacks in the show, we thought, okay, it'll show him escape the Sarlacc. And it did. But there is so much more to these scenes than his escape from the Sarlacc. To understand where Boba Fett is going in the future, we have to understand what he's been through and where he's been. What he regards as important, and why he's doing what he does. So his past is even more important than his future at this point. His regard for innocent life, his love for his father, and his respect for living sentience, all very important. If you were looking for a show that was all action, you're going to be disappointed. I don't know what to tell you. Go watch Faster and Furious or 13 or something. The Book of Boba Fett has deeper meaning than just seeing more of Boba Fett going around collecting high-profile bounties and getting in fights. We're being made to care about him for a reason. If there wasn't going to be something we could empathize with Boba Fett about, they could have just left him digest in the belly of the Sarlacc. So, my advice, be patient. It may be slower to get ramped up than The Mandalorian was, but this isn't The Mandalorian. It's a very different story with different themes and different characters. With the context this episode gives us, I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Sorry, marks have been taken off for no Rancor. I'm being serious. Not really. There are slow moments in the episode. They didn't have to show him training so much. And I'll do a separate video about the vision he had with the tree and the Sarlacc. But now, it's time for another edition of A Prediction of Mine Has Come True. It's a pretty small one, but the prediction was made about a year ago. I said that Boba Fett will have to fight off the Hutts to maintain his control of the Syndicate. And look, here are the Hutts. The second part of my prediction was that Boba would have to recruit the help of Cobb Vanth and Din Djarin to help fight the Hutts off. But we'll see if that actually happens. But what was your favorite moment in this episode? I have a bad feeling for the Tuskens. I don't think it's going to end well for them, but I hope I'm wrong about that. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the show so far. And leave a like to show your love for the hard work I put into this video and every other video. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.